Lăsarea și iertarea păcatelor robilor lui Dumnezeu, închinător, miluitor și binefăcător, ai sfântul lăcașului acestuia.
Domnul către ucenicii săi, poruncă nouă au Fiți a Domnul către ucenicii săi, poruncă nouă au Fiți a Domnul către ucenicii săi, poruncă nouă au Fiți a Domnul către ucenicii săi, poruncă nouă au Fiți a Domnul către ucenicii săi, poruncă nouă.
All right. So guys, as you can see, we're going to look at some of these translations. This is the Geneva Bible, 1560. It says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, and against the worldly governors, the princes of the darkness of this world." Now think about that for a second. Worldly governors. Now notice how in the 1599 version, with the footnotes, they try to change it into talking about men and things like that, and then spirits and all this other stuff. And we're going to get into that pneuma. We're going to get into all of that stuff in the Greek. And you'll see that most of the time when I ask people things, they can't even tell me what a spirit is. So here you see the Tyndale Bible. It's 1526, 1534, 1535, and then of course the Coverdale. And they all say the same thing. They all add that worldly rulers or worldly governors. Okay? Because that's really what you're going against. But Yah set those things up, as he explained us with Nebuchadnezzar, when he gave him back his understanding after acting like a wild animal for 7 years. So now when you come into the KJV, it says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." Notice when you read that, you just take on this supposed demonic mindset that you just think is talking about demons and things like that. The people aren't doing anything. And see, that's one of the things that kind of confuse people when they really do look at this stuff. You look at, and we're going to go into definitions of pneuma and things like this. You know, we did the whole part about the Satan 14, 15 years ago that a lot of people came to the fruition understanding that there is no Satan. These people here are just as confused as the people that we think are Christians, right? So here, look at it. It says, "For this is the Geneva 1599. It says, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, and against the worldly governors, the princes of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness which are in the high places." And then those in the high places, they won't sit there and tell you that, "Oh, that's the heavens." No. When you go and look at idolatry with the children of Israel, the high places are the groves, the mountaintops where people go and worship, and we're going to prove that as well. And so, like I said, I'm not using this New Testament to give it any kind of accreditation or anything like that. My whole point is to let you know that everybody's been hoodwinked. So when you go outside at night and you're getting in your car, you're not concerned or worried about any demons. You're not concerned. The only time you look at that stuff is when you start dealing with Hollywood or Hollyweird, when they start showing the demonic possessions and all these other things, right? But other than that, if you go outside and it's dark, you're looking to see if somebody's around, if somebody's going to try to rob you, somebody's going to try to take advantage of you, etc. The people that we call the Illuminati that think they're illuminated, what did the Most High say? "The fool has said in his heart, there is no God." when you look at these Satanists and things like that, you think they worship Lucifer, but they openly tell you that there's no Lucifer, right? There's no Satan. And remember, the word Lucifer is the Hebrew word Halel, because Lucifer itself is Latin. And Isaiah, and the word Lucifer's only in the Bible one time, and that's Isaiah chapter 14. And Isaiah didn't speak Latin because there was no Latin language on the planet at that time. So we got to figure this thing out, because like I said, it's just human beings running from Yah and don't even realize they're running towards Yah, because certain vessels are for destruction and certain vessels are for righteousness to be saved. And it's all contingent upon how you see these things and how you respond to these things. So they want you to believe that there's some demons controlling the Illuminati bloodlines and these rituals. No, these rituals are just things they're doing in defiance because they know they're not supposed to do them. They're just defying Yah. The base people probably sit down and think they're worshiping some Satan or some adversary, Hashatan, right? But the higher ups, they know. They're just against Yah. They just don't want to hear what Yah has to say, just like many people on the planet. And that's why Yah says the earth is in darkness and the inhabitants of the earth are in gross darkness. The reason Yah says that is because people have to understand that people are just doing what they want to do. And they're anti-Yah. They're going against Yah. Okay? So when you look at this whole worldly government, let's now get into this a little bit. Let's get into with the definitions, and we can see that in the KJV words are being used and how all of this stuff comes around. Because when you go back and look at spirit, the word spirit, ruach, it just means breath. Okay? It doesn't mean when the Most High says he is spirit, knows that he's a spirit, he is the breath of life. But this is not a literal thing. He's not literally he's not literally that. Even though everything we have, our moving, our being, everything comes from him, but he's not literally that. You have to be able to understand how our forefathers thought and how they explain things. Don't you find it funny that from Genesis to Malachi there are no demons? And then all of a sudden, Matthew is chock full of demons. Mark, Luke, John, all the way to Revelation, full of demons and Antichrist and devils and all this other stuff. And when you go back and look at devils as shades or shads, you'll see that they're not what we think they are. They're fawns, they're he-goats, etc. Okay, so now, let's go to school for a bit. So let's look at this Geneva 1599. So anybody know that if anything is italicized in the scripture, that means it was added later. So when you look at it, it says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against the principalities, against powers, and conjunction, and it's italicized there, against the worldly governors. Then it says the princes, right? That's italicized. So worldly governors of the darkness of this world. See, now that flows better. These worldly governors, these people that are bombing children, killing millions of people through famine, starvation, through capitalism, communism, just whatever isms you can think of, right? Of this world, against spiritual wickedness. Then it says, which are this italicized, but again, it shouldn't be there. It should say spiritual wickedness in the high places. Why is that important? Because when we go to 1 Kings chapter 12 verse 3, we see what the high places are, right? So dealing with the high places, we're going to look at 2 Kings. We're going to jump down to verse 3. As you can see, but the high places were not taken away. The people still sacrifice and burn incense in the high places. The high places are where sacrifices are performed. Now remember, the Most High gives us the specific location where we ought to sacrifice, the place he chooses to place his name. So the children of Israel, they were still sacrificing, doing the wrong thing. If you see it, it'll tell you that Joash did everything that was right in the sight of Yah all his days, but the high places were not taken away. So the high places were not taken away. So now we see that the high and here's another thing too. Remember worldly governors, because really the children of Israel, we didn't have kings. That's a translation that there's only one king, and that's Yah. But when they crafted our book and took things, they started making David, those guys, kings. They're just captains of the host. They're just governors. They're governing the people. They're not kings. Yah is the king. And when we start thinking we're kings, that's when we get in trouble. That's why today you see so many the Israelites running around saying, "What's up, king?" No, we're not kings. You can't have a bunch of kings. You can only have one king. Either Yah is controlling you, or he's not. So in 2 Kings 14:4, howbeit the high places were not taken away, as yet the people did sacrifice and burn incense on the high place. That's the same thing it says when we go back to the Geneva Bible. The high place. Not high places, the high place. 2 Kings 15:3 and 4. We're going to jump down to 4. Because we know what Amaziah, his father Amaziah had done, right? But it says, say that the high places were not removed. Showing you we shouldn't be dealing with what? The high places. The people sacrificed and burnt incense still on the high places. On the high places. Not in high places, not in heavenly places. These are places on earth where worldly governors, worldly kings, that you want to call kings, worldly captains, go and do. And this is why Yah is so upset with the people, especially the leaders of Israel. And here we go here, 2 Kings 15:32. In the second year of Pekah, the son of Remaliah, king of Israel, began Jotham, the son of Uzziah, king of Yehudah, to reign. Right? Now let's jump down to verse 34. And he did that which was right in the sight of Yah. He did according to all that his father Uzziah had done. Verse 35. Howbeit, the high places were not removed. The people sacrificed and burnt incense still in the high places. He built the higher gate of the house of Yah. You see what's going on now? Now you're starting to see how the high places, and when they sit there and say in Ephesians, that garbage New Testament, in heavenly places, high places, because the older translations say high places, and then the newer translations start saying things like heavenly places. And now you got people running around thinking in heavenly places. See how conniving it is, and how you can see from 15:26 to 34 to 35. Why would you need a translation a year after you just did a translation? Because they're attacking the book. So let's look at this. This is 1 Kings chapter 13, right? We're gonna jump down to verse 2. And it says, and he cried, and this is the man of the Most High that came out of Yehudah, right? And he was talking to Jeroboam, and it says, and he cried against the altar in the word of Yah, and said, O altar, altar, thus saith Yah, behold, a child shall be born of the house of David, Yeshaiah, or Josiah, by name, and upon thee shall he offer the priest of the high places. So you got the priests in the high places that are making the children of Israel perform these idolatries. And it says that burn incense upon thee, and men's bones shall be burned upon the altar. So those, Josiah was going to make sure that those idolaters were going to be burnt. That's what this is talking about right here. And when we go back and look at the Canaanites, right? If we just go back and look at the Canaanites, we go to 1 Kings, right? Chapter 3. And there's so many different places to go. Like 1 Kings 13. That was 1 Kings